Good evening. Welcome to the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show with Coach Mike. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in the city of Houston, feel free to reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this Monday evening, just like it is every time we are here for you all on the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show. I want to thank everyone in the audience for checking us out this week. And I want to invite everyone in the audience, take your smartphone, record yourself asking Coach Mike a relevant real estate question, submit it to the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show hotline number, like you see here on the screen. And our super producer, Jay Joseph, may very well choose your question to be answered on tonight's show. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host. He's not only a highly successful real estate broker, but he is most importantly the co-founder of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I want to thank him, as I do always, for sitting in with us on a Monday Night Live. And I'd like to introduce to our audience, Mr. Michael G. Davis. How are you?
Boom. What's up, family? It's Monday Night Live. We are excited, ready to jump into this thing. Man, Prime Real Estate Rick, I am so ready to go.
Hey, look, man, you know, I get this extra buzz of energy every Monday evening when we film the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show, Coach Mike. But first thing, for those who don't know, let them know what's been going on this past weekend, what went on last week in the world of Coach Mike and at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm.
Man, look, we're doing so much stuff, Rick. It's just getting ridiculous. We had to change our entire format of how we do our calendar. We have so many activities going on, man. You know, Rick, 10 to 12 events every week is what we're doing, man. So, you know, last week we had a rehydration time management training where our relationship at Fidelity National Title, Miss Chantel Froelich, came in and she talked to us about, you know, how to reinvigorate our client base. She talked about how to utilize time in such a way where we're able to be more effective. So we did that. We went down to look at Saratoga Homes, which was a great event where we met with the sales counselor out there, Greg Woods, and he showed us the beautiful homes. Matter of fact, Rick, I saw a house had 2 islands in it, man. Two islands. We also saw a house where the bath was enclosed in a shower. So they had the bath and the shower, and it was enclosed in the glass door, man. So just being able to see those amazing things that many aren't aware of just brings more and more value to us as real estate professionals. We had our new agent orientation, which again is something that we do twice a month just to really onboard our agents so they're not feeling like they're on their own. So, and then we had we had a home tour. We had a community tour that was just out of sight. We were looking at properties down at City Gate, which is D.R. Horton. So we had a group of agents that went out there and were familiar with that product. Shout out to Gail and Billy with D.R. Horton that's holding that area down. So as professionals, man, we're staying very tapped into what the market is sharing so we can be the best real estate professionals for the marketplace, help as many people get in the homes as possible.
Well, you know, Coach Mike, once again, man, I want to thank you so much for sharing. But for those in our audience who are not aware of all these activities that go on at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm on a regular basis, could you just explain to our audience the value you see in team building from that perspective and why it's so important for you as a leader to make sure that you provide these type of outings, these type of field trips for not only Brooks and Davis agents, but any prospective buyers that may be interested in tagging along?
No, I think that's a great question, Rick. I feel like it's very important to our industry that we put our best foot forward as professionals. With the amount of money that I've invested in getting trained on, you know, being a coach, the amount of time that I've spent in being trained on being a coach, the amount of time that I've spent in this business close to 20 years, you know, the conclusion that I've come to now is my give back is to help better develop the real estate professional. Right. Ultimately, that's going to help more people get into homes. It's going to help more sellers, more builders. Ultimately, it's going to help more real estate activity take place. which is what I want to be a part of. That's the legacy that I want to live. So, Rick, to your question, what I feel like is key is being able to leverage my relationships, leverage the resources that I've come across during my tenure in this business, leveraging it in such a way to where I can expose new agents or newer agents into the business. I can expose agents that are not as tapped in, be able to provide all of that to my team, to my brokerage, to my agents, so they can be better equipped to help more people, Rick. That's just something that is extremely important to me. And it's something that I'm going to do my best at providing to the marketplace all the time.
And that's why I always like to stress to those in our audience, that's why you are CEO Coach Mike on Instagram. You are not just a real estate broker, you're an educator, you're an inspiration and a mentor. And I want to just highlight and spotlight that, because that's what separates the Brooks and Davis real estate firm experience from other brokerages that some real estate professionals in the area may have been exposed to. So thanks again for elaborating, Coach Mike. We have some really great questions already teed up from our audience full of real estate professionals and those that just want to be in the know. So if you're ready, Coach Mike, I'd like to introduce question number 1.
Let's go, man. Never not working, baby. Let's go.
Let's get it going. Coach Mike, what is the best way to handle the stress as a realtor?
You know what? That's a great question, Rick. Matter of fact, I'm actually, this is something that I speak on. Now as CEO, Coach Mike is going out and booking speaking engagements. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later. But this is one of the topics that I'll speak on, Rick. I'm actually in the process of designing a continuing education class, a 3-hour continuing education class around this topic. So I think this is a great question, because the reality, Rick, is that there's a lot of stress that comes with doing what we do. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of emotions that are connected to it. And to be honest, to be real candid with you, Rick, I think a lot of the stress that comes from realtors has to do with bad communication skills, right? I believe that if realtors were better communicators, I really do believe that success in sales is all about communication, right? What I mean by that, Rick, is for whatever reason, people, or I found agents are uncomfortable just being totally transparent and honest with their clients. It's as if they're trying to shield them from things. Right. So because of that, they're holding, this stress, this anxiety, this apprehension, they're holding it to themselves because it's like they don't want the client to find out, right? They want to shield the client from it. When in reality, what they should be doing is through that total transparency, Rick, number one, that definitely keeps the client in the loop. It's the best thing for them. What realtors have to become better at is they have to become better at managing the client's expectations and managing the client's emotions, right? That's where that skill set has to come in, and then they'll be more forthright in the issues that arise. Because what you and I know, Rick, is that there are always going to be issues in a real estate transaction. No matter you're at the beginning, no matter you're at the end, it's always going to be about putting a fire out. And as a real estate professional, you don't need to shield your client from that. You need to support them through it. You need to be there with them in it, right? So that's one of the things that'll help deal with a lot of stress that we get as real estate professionals, because we bear that pressure. Because again, we're trying to shield the client versus exposing them to it and then just being there to help guide them past it. So that's one. Right. Another thing that's very stressful when it comes to being a realtor, Rick, is we don't do a good job of putting parameters around our time.
Time management.
You know what? I don't even say time management, Rick, because the reality is that you can't manage time. Time's going to keep moving forward, period. You can't stop it. You can't reverse it. None of us got special powers, Rick. We can't manipulate stuff with our mind. Time is going to move. So really, it's about self-management, Rick. It's about what are you doing within the time frame that you have allotted and allocated. And a lot of realtors are not intentional about how they frame their time. They're not, we call it organized, Rick. And it may have something to do with that, right? We hear terms like time blocking, which is it's a very good strategy. It's a very good tool to utilize to help you manage time. But once you time block it, Rick, you still got to make the decision that you're going to be intentional about those specific items, as well as to protect that time for those specific items, right? So ultimately, Rick, what I'm saying is that not necessarily time management, but as you self-manage, you make the decision that you are in control of your time. Because if you don't control it, others will control it for you. That right there is contributing a lot of stress to realtors' lives as well, Rick, is that they're not being courageous enough to take hold of their time for whatever reason. A lot of it is fear. They feel like people are going to fire them, not want to use them, not take them seriously or professional because they're putting parameters around their time and being consistent on how they allocate their time when it comes to their business. So they're afraid of doing that. So they just open themselves wide open, Rick, and then they're just running all over the place.
Right.
And that negatively impacts you, man. That's a lot of stress that's on you that doesn't have to be there. So, that, amongst other elements that we talk about in the class and in the speech is really just getting agents to understand that you can eliminate the stress and best mitigate the stress by accepting control of your time, your business, and your success.
Coach Mike, I have to ask as a follow-up, how often in your mentorship, when you're educating about these topics, do you find that agents feel as if instead of running their business is running them? That they can't get their arms around their real estate practice and some things seem to be spiraling out of control. How often do you hear people express those type of frustrations, Coach?
Rick, I hear it all the time. Right? Control is very key to you being successful. Like, you have to feel like you are responsible, you are in control, you are at cause when it comes to what's happening in your business and how you're serving and how you're helping people. So what that means, Rick, is if you're going to show up the best way, right? If you're going to show up the way that your clients need you to show up for them, then you got to make sure that internally, right, emotionally, right, you through your physiology, through your nervous system, through your mentality, through your mindset, you got to make sure that you're intentional about ensuring that you're your best self and that you're in the best place. And the way you do that, Rick, is you got to understand that you have the capacity to control and be at cause with anything that happens to you. And the moment that you give that up, and you give that up to some kind of external force, I don't care what it looks like. It can look like the government. It can look like your family members. It can look like your spouse. It can look like your customers. I don't care what it looks like. It's external. Once you give that power up to an external force, then ultimately what you're saying is that no longer are you in control for making whatever adjustments are necessary for you to eliminate the stress, the stressors, or the pressure that's coming upon you, right? So I hear that a lot, Rick.
No, I mean, I just thank you so much, Coach Mike, because the reason I asked you that question is because I want to alleviate any of the anxiety that any members of our audience feel about reaching out to either someone like yourself, the broker that they may work with, or someone in the industry about talking about how to relieve those stressors and how to get coaching on how to better manage themselves, thus more effectively use their time. So thank you so much, Coach.
No, absolutely, Rick. I feel like a lot of it could be eliminated with confidence as well. Like people, realtors have to be more confident in what they bring to the table. And whether that's through their own experiences, their own personal knowledge, that they're capturing resources from their own well that they've built up over time, whether they're doing that or where they're tapping into, like you said earlier, resources like myself or their broker or other leaders in the organization. They tapping into their knowledge base. Either way, an agent should be confident in the fact that there's resources, there's people, there's information that they have access to, that only people can get access to that is by dealing with them. They need to bring that confidence to the table, whether they're day one in real estate or day 100 or 1,000 in real estate.
Right.
That's the level of confidence they need to bring to the table. And I think that right there will allow them to be more forthcoming, and that will mitigate a lot of that stress, that pressure that they put on themselves.
You know, one of the great things, Coach Mike, about hosting this particular show with you and having this platform is that we get so many questions from not only tenured agents, but also new agents. Mm-hmm. And the question that we received from a recently licensed realtor. And I'm really curious some of your thoughts about the question they have. So if you're ready, Coach Mike, I want to ask you question number 2.
Let's go.
Coach Mike, can you please provide some tips on how to attract clients on social media?
Oh, you know what, Rick, this is actually a topic that we were talking about last week during our one of our transformational coaching sessions. Mm-hmm. We were talking about social media. And it's actually going to be something that I'm going to expand upon in maybe in some articles or some social media posts. I'm going to be expanding upon this particular topic because there's a lot of information that's going out as it relates to social media. And, you know, Rick, I just feel like it's not good information. Right? I just feel like it's the kind of information that is why realtors are so overwhelmed with the thought of utilizing social media, right? Social media is simple. It's a very simple tool. And I do believe people overthink it, right? This is what I mean by being a simple tool. And again, we're talking about attracting clients. All right. The people that do business with you, people that they know, like, and trust, right? Is that a fair statement, Rick?
Yes.
People do business with they know, like, and trust, right? Okay. So that means social media is giving you a platform where billions of people are on it, right? So now the easiest way to build rapport with somebody is to have something in common, to have a common interest. That's the easiest way. I'll use me as an example, Rick. Little league baseball, youth baseball. We do a lot of that. Been doing that for years, since my son was 4 years old. Heavily tapped into that world, Rick. My son plays on 3 baseball teams. That's how, right. We in that thing, right? We in that thing. Okay. So that's an interest for me and my family. Well, I can use that, Rick, and I can go out onto social media, whatever platform, I don't care. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Mm-hmm. I can go on that platform and I can look for people that are into youth baseball, like I'm into youth baseball. They're out there, Rick, and they're posting, and they got hashtags, and they got groups, and they got all kind of stuff on there. People that are in the youth baseball, right? So I go out to those and I attract those people, right? I attract those people because it's going to be easy for those people to connect to me. Why? Because we have something in common. We have a common interest, right? So now, as I'm engaging those people through posts, through DMs, through just the baseball world, as I'm engaging those people, then what I'm doing with those people, and as I'm attracting more and more of those people, I begin to make them aware of the fact that I do real estate. Right?
Yes.
So now I've attracted them because of our common interest in youth baseball. And as I'm expanding, I'm making them aware that I do real estate as well. So what that does, Rick, is that makes them more comfortable reaching out to me when they have a real estate need. They don't know why, Rick. They don't know why they feel more comfortable reaching out to me than everybody, all the other realtors that then reached out to them and sent them information about what earnest money mean and, you know, what the interest rates are. But they feel more comfortable reaching out to me. Right. I know why. It's because of that common interest, right? So I reach out to that world, and then I make them aware of the fact that I do real estate, and I do that consistently, right? I just keep doing it. Because guess what, Rick? As I engage with those people and as I send them information about what's coming down the pipeline as far as youth baseball, an interesting fact, or I entertain them about youth baseball, just information that they're already going to be attracted to, guess what they're going to do, Rick? They're going to share that information. Yes. They're going to send it to other people that are in the youth baseball. And what's that's going to do for me? That's going to expand my exposure. That's going to put me in front of more people that I'm organically connected to, that I can make aware of the fact that I do real estate, right? And make those people comfortable hitting me in the DM, hitting me on the comments, just following me when that real estate situation happens, right? Look, if a person I said it today in our coaching session, if you make a decision where the stuff that's social media ready, the content that's social media ready is fits within just this single parameter. Like if I said I'm only going to post stuff that's youth baseball, that's going to deal with a lot of the overwhelm that people feel about social media because they're trying to find out what to post. Is this social media ready? Is that social media ready? Like they're trying to figure that out. And the thought of it is just exhausting, right?
Yeah.
Well, it becomes less exhausting if you just focus it in. And listen, Rick, that works, Rick, because what it'll do is people will continue to pay attention to you, right? It won't be as stressful for you, so you'll be more willing to do it. It'll be easier for you to do 2 or 3 posts a day because it's stuff that you're already naturally attracted to. You don't have to think a lot about it. You don't have to be super creative about it, right? And you're speaking to your audience.
Yes.
Right? That right there is just one way. Like that's one of the things that I talk about in one of my classes called Leads, how serious realtors attract business. That's one of the areas that we talk about is social media and how to properly use it. Right. Yes. We also get into the nuts and bolts of what social media really is. Man, I mean, I could actually take the whole show talking about this, Rick, but you know, that's just one tip for a person to utilize to help them attract clients. Like you want to when people decide to buy a house, it's an emotional decision, right? So that means they're going to connect with the person that makes them feel a certain way. So you're putting yourself in a position for people to feel good about you by letting them know that, hey, we got something in contact. It's going to be easier for them to want to do business with you.
Hey, man, I agree totally. And for those in our audience, what Coach Mike is illustrating is the value of being yourself first, attracting those of like mind, and then presenting your professional face, your services, and what it is that you can do for them after you all have a common ground of youth baseball or whatever hobby or interest you may have. So I urge everyone in the audience, heed that advice, add it to your tool belt, and make sure you put it into practice because to Coach Mike's point, extra closing a quarter through social media can make a substantial difference in a lot of realtors' annual projections and some of their goal setting. So do this, like you say, Coach Mike, be intentional and be consistent. And you will all see the results that come with that, man. So thanks so much, Coach. You know, the best thing about social media, to your point, is that we get an opportunity to spread our message to not only realtors, but also those potential clients, consumers, buyers, and sellers. And Coach Mike, this third question comes from someone who is interested in purchasing real estate in the future. So I'm really curious to hear your answer to their questions if you're ready for question number 3, Coach.
Absolutely, man. Let's jump right in.
Coach Mike, if a person wants to buy a house in 6 to 9 months, when should they get pre-approved?
You know what? That's something that we get all the time, right, Rick?
Exactly.
We get that all the time too. So my answer, I don't care whether it's 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, 6 years, 10 years. I don't care. If a person says that they're interested in buying a house, I'm interested in buying a house in ... Don't matter to me. My first step is let's talk to the lender. Now, let's talk to the lender now, right? Again, it could be I want to buy a house right now. I want to buy a house in 12 months. I want to buy a house in 2 years. Let's talk to the lender now. Let's run an application now. Let's pull credit now, right? And the reason that we want to do that, Rick, is that we want to see, even if you don't want to buy it right now, there are some things that you may need to do over the 6 to 9 months to make sure that you're in a position to buy, right? So that's one reason that I encourage people to do it right now, okay? The second reason I encourage people to buy right now is because a lot of times people say that they want to buy in 6 to 9 months because they feel like they're not ready, right? Mm-hmm. Be like, why you want to wait 6 months? Why, what's stopping you from buying tomorrow? That's a question that I typically ask when people first show any kind of desire to purchase a home. I feel like I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. Or they'll feel like I'm still working on my credit. Or they'll say, I need to save up some more money. Here's the interesting thing, Rick. Most people don't even know what credit score they need to buy a house, but they need to work on their credit. All right. most people don't know how much money they actually are going to need to buy a house. They don't know that, but I need to save up more money. Right. So another reason why I have them talk to the lender, fill out the application, have these conversations, so now they can start getting better information, right? And as they get this better information, Rick, it's going to help them to better, answer the question of if they should truly wait that initial time frame, or maybe that I want to buy a house in ... may change because they now have better information.
No, and the great thing about the advice that you're giving, Coach Mike, is because you're urging people to seize the opportunity, to take advantage, take control of their future, not to procrastinate, because the sooner we can answer these questions, the sooner you can have these answers, the sooner you are to closing on a home, and the sooner you are to getting keys. So once again, to all those buyers out there, to all those renters who want to be owners, heed Coach Mike's advice. Get pre-qualified as soon as possible. And in the words of Coach Mike, right now. Check it right now. Right now, man. You know, Coach, man, I want to thank you so much for your time, because the great thing about this is that we interact with the viewers. Big huge shout out to everybody checking us out on YouTube. Big huge shout out to everybody's checking us out on Facebook.
Yeah, Joshua De Hoyos, man, has been very active today, man. So we definitely want to shout him out.
Big huge shout out, Coach Mike, man. Before we sign off this week, are there any messages, any words you want to share with the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show audience?
Just, you know what, Rick? I want them to be well aware of what we have coming down the pipeline. We have another busy week, right? We have the Realtor Life podcast that's happening tomorrow at 12:30. Another great interview. Mr. Greg Woods is going to be coming in. He's a man of God. He's also a real estate professional with Saratoga Homes. So that's going to be a great talk. Then we're also doing our real estate happy hour live tomorrow. Some great trending topics where we come together as a team. We did one 2 weeks ago, man, and it was just off the chain. So we're looking for people to come hang out with us in the high rise. It's a very fun, lighthearted show that we do on every other Tuesday at 2:30. So we're doing that this week. Wednesday, we're going to be having a client follow-up training where you're just going to be learning the essentials of creating follow-up triggers and how to offer value when you follow up. I know we've heard this before, Rick. Fortune is in the follow-up. So we're going to be really talking more about that as it relates to this training. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about Remind, right? We're going to be letting Nicole Jones. Matter of fact, that was the young lady that you all had on your show last Thursday, Miss Nicole Jones. So she's going to be talking about, yeah, absolutely. So hey, look, you guys go check that interview out with Nicole, so you'll know what to expect on Thursday when she comes in and she talks about, you know, how to run an MLS and public record searches and how to really utilize Remind and Remind. And then that goes right into what you all are doing, Rick, with the Prime Real Estate Network. So I don't know if you already have a guest for that Thursday show.
No, I want to make sure, because I want to thank you so much for the introduction. I urge everyone, go to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. Check out last week's interview with Ms. Nicole Jones. She's a realtor's best friend. She can be your trusted title partner, and she shared invaluable gems on how to take your real estate career to the next level by utilizing partnerships with those in the title community. So go to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. Check out Ms. Nicole Jones' interviews. Smash the subscribe, like, and share button. I want to thank you in advance for watching.
Absolutely. And then we're going to be going out to Orchard Creek Lane. Is in Manville, Texas. We're going to be going out there on Thursday for our weekly builder field trip. So again, we encourage realtors, recently licensed realtors, whether you're a part of Brooks and Davis or not, you can definitely participate in our field trips that we do weekly. So we're going to be going out to Pomona, 4742 Orchard Creek. That's in Manville, Texas. And we're going to be looking at the product that's out there and just making sure that we're constantly familiar with what's going on in the city as far as new construction. And then on Saturday, we have our hands-on mentee workshop. We do that once a month. Where we have our head of member development, Dion Collier, comes into the central office, which is near NRG, And she does a hands-on training with our mentees as it relates to different areas like working with buyers, buyer consultation, listing appointment, property searches, property showings, just a host of things. So she's going to be doing that on Saturday. And then every week we have our group transformation coaching. So every day our agents have an opportunity to engage with that CEO Coach Mike. That's one of the biggest values that Brooks and Davis brings to the table that other brokerage firms don't have access to, is that the broker of this organization is a bona fide certified realtor and success coach that our agents have multiple opportunities every week to engage with as they not only frame their business, but personally frame themselves, because their business is only going to grow to the extent that they do individually. So we do that every week. The great segue into, for those that are not agents with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, you too still have an opportunity to meet with at CEO Coach Mike every week. Every Tuesday, starting tomorrow, actually, I do a group coaching session that's called the World Changers Table. And you can have access to it. I do virtual, and I alternate between virtual and in person. Tomorrow is in person, right? I only have 4 seats. Any World Changers Table only has 4 seats because I want to make sure that I'm effective, that people truly get value out of it. So I limit how many people can participate. There's 1 seat left for tomorrow. So if you're interested, make sure you go to michaelgdavis.com, WCT, and go ahead and take that seat. Now, if you need to do it virtually, my first virtual one is on the 28th because we skipped the 14th. We know what day that is, so we ain't playing. We ain't playing with the misses, right? So the first virtual one is on the 28th. Still an opportunity, only 4 seats per session. Visit michaelgdavis.com, WCT, to see what the cost is, what the investment is. It's the most affordable coaching option out here on the market, Rick. So I encourage you, go there. All right. Absolutely. And then finally, I'm booking. I'm looking for bookings, Rick. Speaking of opportunities, SEO Coach Mike needs to get out there and needs to talk to people. Had a phenomenal first session of the year with the Women's Council of HBREA. And now it's time for me to get to more communities, more organizations, so they can learn more about these great topics that I have as it relates to goals, as it relates to leads, how serious agents are serious about their success to attract more business, right? How easily you can get it done with goals, the secret to managing stress. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. And then leadership, how to take your business to the next level and win through leadership. So those are the 4 topics that I can speak on to any group. And the special that I'm running for February, Rick, is that I'm waiving my speaking fee for any person, any organization that books me for any future dates. Only this month, though. You got to get me on your calendar before the end of the month, and I'll waive my speaking fee because I want to go out there and I want to talk to people and I want to help people, Rick. So we got a lot coming down the pipeline, man. And, again, go to the website, go to the multiple places, get connected, get in the ecosystem, continue engaging with us because, we want to continue to provide great opportunities and we want to continue to provide great advice.
No, that's great, man. Everyone, follow Coach Mike on Instagram. Follow Brooks and Davis on Instagram. Follow BND TV. Tap in, stay connected, and take advantage of these opportunities to educate yourself, learn, and improve. Because like Coach Mike said, this is some of the most valuable information you'll ever have an opportunity to take in. And Coach Mike is being very generous with his time and energy going out the city over, spreading his message of success and how you can use real estate to build a flourishing career now and in the future. So Coach Mike, thank you. Hey, man, as always, I want to thank you so much for sitting in with us this week, man. It's been a great show. You've done an outstanding job of sharing everything with us, man. Before we sign off, Coach Mike, any parting words or anything you'd like to share in closing?
Go take action the right way.
Absolutely.
Go take action the right way.
On behalf of myself, Rick Davis, and CEO Coach Mike, Mr. Michael G. Davis, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show. And until next Monday, everyone in the audience, please be safe and be blessed.